we've got another ping. I mean, Oh, there we go. There we go. We're live now. Right. Why did that take so long to work? So I don't think you caught quite what happened at the start there. I was live for 4.5 minutes. And it pinged to say it was live, but I don't think anybody could view the video. So hopefully we can all view the video now. It's only because I went to check my audio balance that I found out. So maybe a good job for that. Bear with me 1 second, everybody. Yeah, we looked to be up and running now, folks, so I do apologise for that. I'm not quite sure what happened there. Some hashtag technical difficulties, it seems. Essentially, all I run down was I did a bit of Spanish. I said hello to everybody. I went through last week's results, and then I told you the standings. And then we're round and board with Caelan Bartlett, who do our flying lap. Strauss is obviously at the top here, ahead of Harry Palmer. He's fifth in the championship. Cole Paradox is currently in third. Championship leader now, Danjo. He's 1 point ahead of Diddy after winning last week. He didn't really miss much, let's be real. AFL, though, he is on a lap. He is no longer on a lap. Having a little bit of spin up the uphill left-hander. Tricky corner, off camber. Scottish creeping in there, love to see it. Off camber, uphill, so, you know, a little bit of a tricky one at times. There we go, my photos have downloaded. Oh, this has just been an absolute nightmare tonight, folks, I'll be honest with you. Technical difficulties, you know, but it's bank holiday weekend. I hope you had a better one than me. I spent it in work. So, aye, we'll try and get hyped up and try. I've just died, you know, that way. I was really hyped up. I had a great little session, a great little, you know, intro. Big energy. By the way, it's just myself tonight. I forgot. Yeah, that was the other thing. Jack's not here, so you've just got me. You're just gonna have to get on with that. I'll be honest with you. Like, sounds like a you problem. It's kind of a me problem as well. Let's be real. Anyway, so last week's results: Danjo won from Diddy, who Caballos P3 with a nice little pole. Bit unexpected, some might say, but a decent little time all together. Little one, Harry Palmer, Cole Pat, King 5 Panda, It's Jamie, KXI, and Wes RS rounded off the top 10. Wes RS no longer in the seat, so I believe Pistol is his name. Is going to take that full time from next week. So championship standing, Danjo a point ahead of Diddy, 17 points ahead of Little One. King 5 Panda's in fourth, 30 points behind. And Harry Palmer 50 points behind. Then you've got It's Jamie, KXI, Caballos, Cole Paradox, Real DC, the top 10. Eason, Tobes, Woodland, Curly, Agast, Alloy, Club PR, AFL, Strauss, and King Macaroon. King Macaroon, Strauss, and AFL the only drivers not to score points. Harvey 050291, reserve in tonight into P5. I believe our reserves tonight are CRL Spider Rob, currently on an outlap. The man previously last week, not last week, sorry, the week before, CRL Baldy Bob, and then something else before that. It was Spider Rob, of course. CRL Spider. He's had more name changes than Cheryl Cole, folks. It has been an absolute nightmare to keep up with his names. But that is who is reserving tonight alongside Harvey, and I believe we have one driver that is hopefully joining. I believe so. I think it is King Macaroon, but I know he has had some connection issues, new Wi-Fi in the building, so maybe just, I don't know, maybe just a NAT type issue or just things settling in with that. Kabbalah saying coming up the top of turn number 9, up to the second sector. Last week's pole sitter, 51.350 at the end of the second sector. I'll be honest with you, I'm not a Scooby-Doo if that is any good, if he's going to be close to the time, but nonetheless, it will be a banker through the last couple of corners. Double right-hander to finish off the lap. Up to the line with that DRS, wide open. It's only P11 for last week's pole sitter. Couple of hundreds ahead of his teammate, but definitely a bit disappointing with that lap time considering what he achieved last time out. Toves, I think, is just coming to into the pits. Danjo looks to be on a flyer, 20 to 30% of that ERS still going. Round the final 2 corners as his teammate Harry is being a gravel merchant. Up to the line then, Danjo does improve by 0.212 of a second up to P2, but not quite able to hit the heights of Pepin Strauss, back from family holidays in Italia. So, yeah, hitting the ground running is our Straussy Boo. CRL Spider Rob then. The man, like I said, had more name changes than Cheryl Cole, Cheryl Gallagher, and not Jordan, that's that other one. Anyway, enough about them disgraces to the human race. Up to the line then, Baldy Bob goes, and he's 3/10 down on his time, so not quite finding any improvement there. Little One, somebody who will be wanting to improve, is Little One, aka Ethan. Had a great start to the season, of course, particularly in Baku, particularly in, Bahrain and Qatar. A little bit of an off week last week, so looking to bounce back. Currently finds himself down in P14 with 13.286, end of the second sector, and nearly a quarter of a second off the best time, switching into none, back into medium, so looks like that lap has been abandoned. Curly then, Curly down in P17 in the kick side. Well, we've not really seen much of Curly this season, to be honest. He has been about, he's just not really been much mixed up in any action. Been a bit of a lonely season, you could say. Just finds himself a bit on his own in the race for the most part, and not quite had a great qualifying so far, but today could be the day. Bank Holiday Monday. Is it going to be bank holiday celebrations for Curly? 3/10 at the end of the second sector. It is enough to jump a gas alloy, and bear in mind there's plenty of time through this final couple of corners. Really got to be brave with the throttle. Plenty of ERS as well for the for the Sauber. Get round the final corner, overtake. I think he used the overtake a little bit too early there, and it's just lost him some traction. Did find 4.5 tenths, however, up into P14 is Curly, so not far off the points paying positions. A man as well that'll be looking to bounce back before his baby bounces into this world. It is Clark PR. Had a bit of a tumultuous start to the season. We saw glimpses of pace, of course, in Qatar, and as well Hungary last week. Had a very decent race until an unfortunate meeting with a curb just threw it all to the wayside. 2 tenths up though through the first sector. Could potentially be on for a flyer now. Up through the left-hander, and then the right-hander, and then the next right-hander. These are the tricky corners on the track. Not that any of them are in particularly easy, but if you're going to make a mistake, Clippier does on the exit of turn 9. Had lost time there as well, but partially, I'd imagine, due to running onto the curb. Spider Rob has retired. That is on track as well. There goes his wheel. So, as Rob crashed coming into the pits, Rob, who's? Just missed it, folks. I think Rob has crashed into the pits. Yeah, listen, we've all done it. I think Greg's Game Centre, our Greggy boy, hope he's keeping well. Haven't seen him for a while. All the names are flooding back. I think he did it a good few seasons ago. I could just take a little sip of the refreshments. You know, being here myself, the old throat is going to get parched, but I'm going to try and keep you up to date with the action tonight. And it should be an action-packed race, of course. Round 5, much the same as round 1, which you missed because I was sunning myself up and Jack was once again ill. Somebody really needs to check in on him. Go on, can we get a donation page going together, get a fundraiser for a private doctor for Jack Gostick, because that boy is always dying of some ailment. We need to check into this. Jamie, though, is on a flying lap while I preach on about this nonsense, but like round 1, this is going to be a committed 2-stop. You have to do 2 stops in the race, and that's nothing to do with if it's wet, if it's dry, if there's safety cars. As long as when we get to that end stream and it says your final position, your difference to the drivers, where you started, as long as it says stops 2 or more. You can do 3, 4, 5, 6, as many as you like. Pit every lap if you want, for all we care. As long as you've done 2, you're still qualified for the race. Fail to do that, 0, well, you're disqualified, obviously. But even 1, you're disqualified. Jamie is going to try and not disqualify this lap, though. Lost a little bit of time on his previous PB through the middle sector, but that first sector was awfully tidy. Into the final couple of corners then. Double right-hander. How brave is he going to be? How much curb and how early on the fall. That little downshift just to rotate the car. Not much battery left, but it's up to the line. And it's only a 10th improvement. The start of that lap looked absolutely blistering. But the second and third sector letting him down there. And it is only going to be P6 for the moment. I believe it is going to be one of the McLarens starting their lap next. So it's either going to be HP Sauce or it is going to be Danjo the Banjo. And we'll ride on board with Danjo the Banjo. Of course, playing his own little tune at the top of the standings at the moment. But he has got brother into 1 point separating these two. 30 points separating the top 4. And there's 31 available tonight, folks. So any of King 5 Panda, Danjo, Diddy, or Little One could leave Spain top of the spot. Harry Palmer can't be discounted, of course. 50 behind. There is still 4 rounds left. 5 races in those 4 rounds, so well over 150 points to pick up. But it is starting to look a little bit less and less likely that Harry's going to be in that fight. And that 5 is slowly turning to 4, and it might slowly turn to 3 unless Little One and Panda can really step up and try and pursue Danjo and Diddy, who have constantly been at the top. Danjo either finishes first or he finishes third. So look out for those pain positions tonight for him. Good first sector though from the McLaren man. Still used a lot of battery, however, so let's not discount that towards the end. 3 tenths up, enough to get down to the 12.2s, maybe even to the 12.1s, just with those decimal points. Did look a little bit loose though on the, as I've just hit the button off my knee. But it's still on for a decent lap here nonetheless, and should take provisional pole at the very least. We'll see if it's going to be enough for the full pole, of course. A 12.294 did lose some time. Harry Palmer though, a 12.089 says, well, you can have your provisional pole. I'm taking it straight back off you. Strauss. Let's ride on board with Strauss. I believe he's only done 1 flying lap. He is into none. As Harry Palmer has retired on track. That is a bit... Now, I'm not saying that he should do that. It's not going to affect anything, really. But at the same time, you're meant to retire in the pits. So, come on, Harry. You've been around long enough to know better. Harvey, though, purple middle sector. Is the game playing games with me, or is it just doing its usual nonsense? We'll see. Harvey through the last couple of corners. Rob confirming there he clipped the wall into the pit, hadn't he? So he is going to start 16th at best. Cold Paradox, I believe, improved up to P3. Harvey improves up to P5. Strauss, I think, got to the line. So Strauss, we'll come back to him later on. A gassed alloy, there's an Aston Martin coming through. I think that's King 5 Panda on his 1 and only lap. P18 for P3 in the standards, or P4 in the standards, sorry. Not where he would want to be starting. What about a gassed alloy? Up to the line, does improve by 5 and a good chunk of tenths. Up into P12, we've got a Mercedes coming to the pits, I believe. Yes. I think next up is going to be the Ferrari of Cavalis. Last week's pole sitter, of course, in Hungary. Currently down in P4. Did a big wobble through turn number 14 up to the line. Does improve, but only to P13. Little One into the pits. His teammate Claire PR up to the line. Does not improve. Tobes next up. And, well, judging by that difference up in the top right corner, unless that's glitched, no, definitely not going to improve. Who is gonna be next? Kaylin Bartlett is not on a lap. Harvey is not on a lap. I think it's Strauss who has not improved. I think that is pretty much us, folks. Jamie not on a lap. Kaylin's not on a lap. Harvey's not on a lap. So yes, that will be qualifying 1 and done here. And it's going to be a McLaren 1-2. Harry Palmer with a 12.089. A lot of talk in the paddock and elsewhere of Harry being washed at the start of this season. Yes, currently P5 in the championship, 50 points adrift, but with 155 available, it's not out of question. And a bit of pace like that, taking pole by 0.21 of a second, 0.205, sorry, of a second. It's a good showing for this race. Danjo then in P2 ahead of Co-Paradox, and Strauss on his return in P4. Harvey, Diddy, Kaelan Bartlett, Jamie, Tobes and Klipper rounding off your top 10. DC, Agast, Aloika, Bolas, Little One, Wiban, Curly, Spider Rob, King Fi Panda, and then AFL rounding off the grid. Danjo will be licking his lips here though. P2 on the grid, P1 in the championship standings, his nearest rival. 4 cars behind in P6, and the other 2 guys prime in the mix, Little One and King Fi Panda, well, 14th and 18th respectively. It's going to be a tasty race, folks. Let's just say that they've got cars that are maybe a little out of position, you could say, based on their average pace of what we've seen this season, or maybe they're just struggling with the track. You've got cars that are maybe expected to be further down the grid, or maybe a little bit further up, and you've also got returners like Strauss and Co-Paradox. Co-Paradox not been having much pace in the last few weeks compared to what we were expecting. He's found a bit here tonight, and Strauss, you can never discount Strauss. So I think this battle between, to be fair, the top 6 at least is going to be tasty. It's just whether they can keep a grip of Harry. We could have a great battle then if Harry gets away from P2 all the way down to maybe P6, P7, P8. We can't discount Kaelan, Jamie, even Tobes, Klipper, DC even, dare I say it. There could be a nice little that midfield scrap. I mean, you couple in the strategy calls. It's a 2-stop here. You've got to pit twice. You can't just do a medium hard or a hard medium. You've got to think maybe a bit outside the box. Do you go medium, medium hard? Do you go hard, hard, medium? Do you go soft? I mean, who knows? The drivers will find out. We'll find out. But nobody knows exactly what the best strategy is at this point in time. While the drivers then decide on this strategy, I'm going to take myself a little 2-minute break to just get myself prepped for this race, get a little drink, get a comfort break, have some fun, you know, and we'll be back for the formation lap. Don't go anywhere, folks. Don't go anywhere. The action will be kicking off very soon. That was Guy near perfect timing. Guy, an old Scottish word meaning pretty much, I suppose, is maybe the nearest one-to-one translation. Strategy calls then, and it's a bit of a yellow and red mix with one little outlier. Pole sitter Harry Palmer opting for the sauce, as is P3 Co-Paradox, P6 Diddy, 8 and 9 Jamie and Tobes alongside Cabolas in P13, Wiban in P15, CRL Spider Rob in P17. I'm just going to refer to it as Rob. And then the back 2 of King Fi Panda and AFL. Speaking of Rob, he has made collisions with Curly, or vice versa. Something's happened back there, so they're going to start with some coldy tires. Curly, speaking of which, on the mediums as his little one, P14, 12th, 11th and 10th, that's Agast, Alloy, Real DC and Clipper. Kaelin Bartlett, or Bartlett's Albert Potatoes as I like to call him, in P7. Strauss and Danjo then, P4 and P2, both on them. Harvey though, opting on the hards. Who is that away off track? What is going on? Where's blood going, as someone would say? I think that was Kaelin. I think that was a Mercedes. That's an interesting strategy to warm the tyres, it must be said. Fire off into the gravel. We'll wait and see. So Harry then going for the softs, hoping to try and break early. Hoping to try and, not break early, sorry, break the DRS and break the gap early. And probably looking as well, the first round of pit stops, he wants to make sure he's in front of his teammate. Double stack could be crucially devastating for one of their races. So definitely looking to avoid that. I think double stacks around the grid. There's an odd chance of a few, Harvey and Tobes, Diddy and Jamie, Cavalis and Wuban, Rob and King Fly Panda are pretty close together on pretty identical strategies. So we'll keep an eye on Harvey. Could be a great roadblock for the top four. Diddy's going to have to clear him quick. Of course, the softs versus the hards. It's going to be it's going to be a difference of pace. We'll see how it shapes up because we have got 5 red lights here on Spain. Lights out and away we go for the Spanish Grand Prix. Round 5 of Tier 2, season number 12, and AFL has had a spin off the line in glorious fashion. Cole Paradox then getting the jump on Danjo. Diddy getting the jump on Harvey and looking to go side by side with Strauss. The Haas on the inside for turn 2 was the outside for turn 1, but has to cede position to the soft runner. What a start from Diddy, up 2 positions. Harvey falling down the grid a little touch here. We'll try and get the position change graphic. Cavalis up 4 already as we come through the second part, or the first part of the second sector, sorry. Cloppier and Harvey then swapping positions. That Ferrari of Cavalis slurking in the background, but I think aside from AFL spinning it into the wall in his own accord off the line, a pretty clean start for all. Harvey, the biggest loser, of course, on those hards, is really going to struggle. That's an absolute send from Tobes, but he's somehow made it stick. Gets past Cavalis for a split second, almost gets past Harvey and loses out to both of them. So Tobes getting a bit racy. Kaelin and DC, no, DC wasn't doing, but Kaelin has definitely lost some positions of the start. Let's quickly jump back to that. Yeah, he's down 4. Cavalis up 4. Spider Rob up 4. Agast Alloy down 5. Harvey down 3 on the hards. The race could come to him, however. Little one making a move on Spider Rob into turn number 1. Gets it done cleanly. Gets it done nicely. But Rob, on the softs, is going to try and fight this back, it seems. Into turn number 4, doesn't quite present an opportunity for the overtake and has to settle in behind. Further up, Cavalis getting close to the rear of Harvey, but I'm going to quickly jump. No, I'm not going to jump. That's just sod's law, innit? I jump away to try and look at the battle further down, and Cavalis sneaks through in the first part of the second sector. Turn 5's exit, I do believe. Spinner down at the back. That's King 5 Panda, P4 in the championship. Needs a good result here to keep the hopes alive. Isn't quite getting it. Tobes and Harvey swapping positions through turn number 10, and Tobes not quite able to make the dive stick the last time. Does manage to make the move stick this time. Crucially though, all of the top 15 are still within the DRS train, although as I say that, the top 2 are gapping ever so slightly. Danjo losing out down the straight there. Diddy all over his back end like a rash. And despite having the DRS, Danjo losing time to the cars in front. Whether that is just not losing any time to Harry, just with Cole Paradox, who's now up into P1, pulling that DRS, stretching out the gap, and maybe that's just what's made the difference. We shall see. But Cole Paradox up into the lead. I wish Cloppier was in the lead. That would give us something to shout about. But Harry though, and crucially Cole Paradox, and crucially Danjo, the gap still hanging about the 1 second, not 1%. He has got DRS once again. Here's Harry trying to make a move to the outside of turn number 10. Goes a little bit deep, almost running off the track, but the outside turns to the inside for 11 and 12, and in fact 13 and 14. And 3 takes the lead of the race. Wuban and Spider Rob having a little scrap. Well, Wuban's went off track. A little twitch. Safe enough rejoin, it must be said. Yellow flags, that is, of course, for Wuban. Cole Paradox in with the assist of DRS, sailing past Harry. Cavolis on a charge on the softs, however, up into P7. But, and this could be key, DRS has been broken from P6 down to P7. Just 1.101 the gap. It needs to be under 1 second for that wing activation to come online. And Cavolis is going to fight hard through these next few corners to try and pull that gap in. He has got danger behind Tobes and Clipper. They again have pulled that gap to Caelan Bartlett, so no DRS for those further behind. We'll wait and see. Yes, Jamie Cam is going to be about. We will ride on board with Jamie at some point. Caelan and DC spreading out a little bit. DC under threat potentially from the hards of Harvey. Nope. Little one under threat from the side pod of DC. Little one getting it all wrong. And oh no, Mick Cole Paradox getting it all wrong at some point during those final 2 corners. Drops from P2 or P1, I think it was P1, down to P7, and that could be a little bit of a lifeline for Clipper and Co, because there might be that little bridge to the cars in front. Clipper going to get the assist of DRS, Tobe's going to get the assist of DRS, and Cole Paradox from P1 to P9 in 2 corners with the little bit of a spin. I think Agast, Alloy, Curly, Wuban and Little One all having a little battle there and a little bit of a swap about through the first couple of corners. But we'll jump back up to the front runners then. Harry Palmer battling with Cole Paradox. Yes, they're maybe pulling each other along with the DRS. Not able to break a gap to Danjo. Diddy and Jamie, the 2 RBs or D-carbs, whatever you want to call them, behind, not able to pass and pull a gap on the mediums. And the softs maybe only good for a couple of laps, and then the mediums probably are going to be the better race tyre. It's just on this guaranteed 2-stop, how are you going to run it? And it looks to be maybe it's not worth running the softs whatsoever unless you gamble on a really late safety car, because we're 5 laps into this race and the mediums are coming alive well and truly. Danjo going to try and make the move, and in fact there is no try about it. Does make the move on Harry Palmer. Further behind Strauss, side by side with Jamie. Jamie having to cede position into turn 1 and settles in behind the Haas. The Haas though on those mediums as well, maybe starting to come to life a little bit, and he'll be looking in front of him, not so much behind, given that sort of pace that the tyres could be producing now. As Diddy and, well, no, not Diddy and Harry Palmer going side by side. Harry Palmer going side for side, I suppose you can. I don't know. That car is all over the shop. Like, I don't know how. I don't have an analogy prepared for that, I'll be honest, folks. So yeah, Harry having a spin then, and the front 3 become the front 2, and I feel like we've seen these 2 before. Diddy and Danjo 1.1 ahead of Strauss, who has Jamie, Cavolis, Harry, Tobes trailing within his DRS train. Cole Paradox then after that spin down to P8, pulling along Caelan and Clipper. Harvey on the hards, of course, lost a lot of positions on the start, but the race will come back to him ever so slightly later on, and you know, he could run it late, safety car at the right time, it could make a hell of a difference. Jamie then into the pits. Curly has had a spin, so Jamie into the pits from that front train behind Cole Paradox. Rob Spider into the pits also at the end of lap 6. Mediums for Jamie. Rob probably going to go on something similar, maybe even hards we could see. No, it is a set of mediums, so is it going to be a medium to the end for those 2? Answers on a postcard, but that could ignite a surge into the pits for the likes of Diddy, for the likes of Cavolis, Harry Palmer, Toads and Cold Paradox, Wuban and King 5 Panda as well also. looking to pit soon. Ooh. That's terrible, yawning at this time of night. On a bank holiday of all things. Shocking behaviour. Curley then also into the pits for a set of mediums. And we'll keep an eye. What is Jamie's gap to the leader? It is 23.5.6. And climbing, of course, he's got to warm up those tyres. So we expect it to do so. Kaelin with the mediums getting a move on Cold Paradox. Harry Palmer going around the outside of the penultimate corner there on Cavolis and does pull into the pits. As does Diddy, as does Cavolis. Tobes then sticking out on the softs for at least another lap. He will be the last of the soft runners from the initial stage and could lose out heavily. Speaking of losing heavily, Wuban's going to lose 10 seconds on his second stop because he has sped into the pit lanes. Everybody then that was in the softs on to the pits for a set of mediums, except for Wuban. He's opting for the hards. Going to run it long, maybe gamble on a safety car coming out, and could gain some position. So this is the chance for the likes of Diddy, for the likes of Jamie, for the likes of Harry to try and close that gap. Gap to the leader for Jamie was our reference. It's not shifting too much. It's not as if the tyre offset has gave them a huge advantage with the undercut. Of course, they are only 7 laps near on the mediums. The mediums are a decent tyre around here. A lot of heating, of course, does make the medium and the hards a very respectable race tyre, particularly in the game anyway. I think hards is maybe actually the best of the three. I know it was on previous games. I do apologise for you. I'm absolutely knackered. I've had one hell of a day for a bank holiday. I'm the set of work away. And then glow stick flaking on me last minute. Galen Bartlett flaking off Clough PR for the move into what is currently P3. Of course, many cars will be in front of them having made their pit stop. Tobes and King 5 Panda amongst them. The last of the soft runners onto a set of mediums. Tobes coming out behind Cavolis. King 5 Panda only 4 seconds behind Cold Paradox despite that spin, so showing a little bit of recovery pace. Spin for, I think, Agast Alloy at the final corner. As I say that, I think, yeah, Panda was still coming out of the pits when I said that, so not quite, you know, only 4 seconds off the Cold Paradox. It's 9.5, but have faith. We will be there, we will believe. Wuban and Rob then having a little battle. 2 of the early-ish pitters, I suppose you could classify them as. One of the hards, one of the mediums, and you expect Rob's mediums, despite being a lap older, to be a little bit quicker at this stage of the Grand Prix. I just had the biggest yawn you ever did see, and that is a lot better. Little one into the pits then at the end of lap 8. Yeah, we're kind of settling into that bit of the Grand Prix. The gaps are well over a second for the most part. You know, you've got the odd battle here, DC and Harvey, Cold Paradox and Toad, but a lot of them, no, Cold Paradox and Toad is, no, that's not, sorry, yeah, it's a battle, yep, Little One is the one in the pits. So, there is the odd battle, but it all becomes about strategy now. That is, I suppose, the one downside of the 2-stop. There is maybe little less on-track action because the strategies do diversify a bit more, but the tactical battle is very much there. Good old drink just to recover the throat. It's hard doing this yourself. I don't know how I used to do this so often myself, and so energetic might be the wrong word, but enthusiastic, like, maybe, who knows, maybe I'm just getting old. Answers on a postcard, folks. Let's jump to the battle for P3 at current. Of course, all these drivers within the top 6 have to pit, except for Kaelin Bartlett, who is making his pit stop now at the end of lap 9. Is that gamble? Because the undercut is obviously a thing. It's maybe not been too powerful for some so far. We'll wait and see as Harvey makes his move on Clough PR back up into provisional P3. The gap then, Jamie, it has come down a couple of seconds, so probably Jamie and Diddy going to jump Danjo as things stand. Kaelin onto another set of mediums. So I wonder if he's going to take them another 10 laps or so and then jump on the hards for the last 13. That might be the shout. There is a spin. I think AFL having a bit of an evening to forget at the moment. Pardon me. Talking that much, I can't stop yawning. You love to see it. Let's jump on board with Harry Palmer and Cabolas. Cabolas 1.7 of Jamie, who's 1.8 of Diddy, but those two are looking for the big undercut and try and close down towards Danjo. You know, they're going to come together towards the end of the race. Here's the thing, as much as Danjo is losing out in time now, track position isn't really too much of an issue around Spain. There is overtaking opportunities. So it's not quite like Hungary or Monaco where you need to stay ahead. Flurry of cars into the pits, so at the end of lap number 11, Strauss, Klepper and DC all coming in off their starting mediums. Going a third of the way into the Grand Prix. So is that the strategy? Just do a third, medium, hard. Or is there going to be a stretch on these second mediums to try and maybe take the softs or the mediums far enough, to get on the softs at the end? We'll wait and see. Well, that's been happening. Harry Palmer's got past Cabolas and Strauss has came out directly behind, so has lost out with the undercut, but 4 lap fresher mediums, there is going to be a bit more pace in them, particularly towards the latter end of this stint, and it gives Strauss that a little bit more flexibility in case a safety car, or indeed a virtual safety car, decides to appear. Rain could also be an occasion, but it is Spain and those skies do look pretty blue, pretty clear, pretty unwet, you could almost say. So don't expect any rain tonight. Danjo from the lead into the pits. Let's ride on board as he comes through this beautiful pit stop at the Circuit de Catalunya, and it is another set of mediums. So 12 laps on the mediums. Could he get to lap 24, maybe 25, and bang on a set of softs for an 8 to 9 lap stint? It's definitely possible, as Wuban picks up a time penalty for track warnings, up to 13 seconds. Agast Oloy already getting one as well. But crucially for Danjo, he's lost out not just to Diddy, he's lost out to Jamie. 6 and 5 laps older tyres for those two, of course. But Diddy, 2.8 seconds, 2.9 up the road. Jamie, oh, I do apologise, 8 tenths up the road. So Danjo has got some moves to make here, and he has also got the look behind, because that gap was slowly closing and he's kind of bridging it between Cabolas and Jamie. Cabolas needs a little good run up the hill here, and in fact Harry Palmer's, well, they're bump drafting, there's no other word for it, up the uphill right hander. Yellow flag in the first sector. Harry maybe not quite able to send it, kind of half thought about it, and I think the door was going to close on him anyway, but Cabolas defending well, but crucially costing both of them time to the cars in front. Harry desperate to get past, but his ERS management is about as good as Keir Starmer's management of the country. Yes, we're getting political tonight, folks, and I don't care what you think. Danjo then gets a move on Jamie. Strauss gets a move on Cabolas and Harry Palmer, and Harry has to settle in behind. Harry's got the pace back again, but really needs to work on that ERS management of his game. Club PR and Real DC battling out for the basic point at the back, but still a point nonetheless. As I think Agast Oloy having another spin at the couple last corners. DC having a little twiggle under connection. Things you love to see. Hopefully that's not affecting any of the racing. Harvey then still running out in front. That's not him we're looking at. Started on the hards, of course. Has to make a pit stop over these other two, or other 18 I should say, and is only 5.6 clear at the front. However, to take off 20 seconds, he's probably going to jump out round about DC and Club PR, but he's going to come out with a decent bit of fresher tyres and probably 2 sets of mediums, which look to be the best compound for the race. Danjo closing in on Diddy, setting the fastest lap of 14.4. Strauss says, I'll take that as well with a 14.4. And in fact, Strauss has bridged the gap up to Jamie. And it looks to be as if we're going to have a battle very, very close between Diddy and Danjo. If Jamie or Strauss can hang on there, then those two and Harry Palmer and potentially Cavalis could get in the mix. This could end up being a 6-car battle for the top 3 to 4 positions. It just all depends on how the tyres last and how the racers go. Jamie seems to be struggling a little bit though, is losing time hand over foot, of course, is on much older tyres compared to, well, everybody apart from Diddy and, well, he's not really on much older than Harvey, Harry and Cavalis. It must one lap, but compared to Strauss, of course, and Danjo in front, very big difference. Yellow flag further up, I think that is AFL having another little excursion of some kind. But Harry just going to sit in behind. He's saving up a little bit of ERS maybe, and he's maybe thinking, I'll try and get this moved on one and clear, but you see Strauss is going to go for it. Harvey pits after 14 laps, has 20 or 19 laps to do, 2 sets of mediums, maybe even a medium soft. Could be on the cards. It's going to be a set of mediums. Strauss though, to the left hand side of Jamie. Jamie hanging in there, going to defend half decently, but it's going to be against Harry instead of Strauss just losing out at the end. Pinches Harry a little bit on the apex, leaves enough room however, and Harry just not getting the move done, not getting a clean enough run, and this traffic could be very detrimental to his late run pace, because he is on he's got to make hay while the sun shines. He's on those mediums that are a little bit older, they're getting a bit older, and you know, time's going to run out on the best of those traction. And the undercut that he went for maybe hasn't materialised quite the way he would have imagined. Danjo though, his overcut has materialised pretty damn well. Diddy getting the undercut, pulling away. Danjo though coming back with a fresher pace and making the move down through the DRS straight into the hard braking zone. Diddy though can now maybe just settle in behind. They know they've both got to make another pit stop. There's no fear of anybody running to the end of the race and you maybe making the wrong strategy call. Well, there is still the wrong strategy call, let's be real. You could go on the wrong tyres at the wrong time. There could be a safety car, perfect timing for your opponent. But at the end of the day, there's no fear that are my tyres going to last, because you know yours aren't, you know his aren't. It's just when are you going to make them last the most. 2.6 they pulled on Strauss and Co though. Strauss staying ahead of Jamie into turn 1. Harry not able to make a move, and if Jamie's quick enough to hold Harry at bay but not quick enough to get past Strauss, and Strauss has just allowed free air to put down some pace that he's got, we could see these 3 maybe start to close up the gap to the front 2. We'll wait and see. Jamie will be looking to sort of ride with him. He has got a very, very pacey and, dare I say it, maybe pushy and a bit desperate to get past Harry Palmer behind, but it's that balance of keeping your position and keeping in the race and trying not to lose a lot of time. Strauss though, roughly staying the same gap to the car in front, despite the car in front having DRS. Diddy though, starting to lose a bit of ground in Danjo, and this could be a walk into the sunset for the McLaren at this stage of the Grand Prix. This is the downside of going early with the pit stop. He just got the DRS, of course, just managed to nick it there. But going early means he's going to have to go early for his second one. So there is always going to be that offset. Little one has crashed out of the Grand Prix. That is on the first of the uphill right handles. I'll be honest, I'm very surprised there is no safety car, a virtual safety car there. I'm really surprised at that. Of course, nobody was really near it on track as Harry and Jamie continue to battle it out on our screens, but I'm very surprised there was no call from the stewards there for any sort of nullification of the race. That could have been a big strategy throw up. That could have really changed things up, because I think everybody apart from Harvey would have had the hards. The hards would have went 15 laps for fun, and it would have maybe bored the race down a little bit in a sense, but also just even the playing field. It would all have been about how quick can you go on the hards. Cavalis and Tobes still battling it out, currently for P6 at the moment. Tobes, again, another driver that's shown some flurries of pace, has had a flurry of spins, however, a bit like Klapper, a bit like Kaelin as well to a degree. You know, sometimes shows that he really can be up there, sometimes lacking that little bit of a pace. Cavalis ain't lacking any pace coming into the pit. Second stop of the night for the Lithuanian. at the end of lap 19. I think he has went medium on this occasion, or it might have been soft medium. It must have been soft medium. Second set of mediums then. 11 laps on those set. Going to have to go 14 on the next, but it's not a massive difference. I'm maybe thinking these 3 laps or so, 2 laps or so undercut, they could make all the difference in my battle to maybe get up to Harry and Jamie, who Harry has had a second spin of that. That's a really weird place to spin, it must be said. That's either just a complete misjudgment of driver ability, or on the driver's ability by themselves, or that is a setup issue. And I think the Harry, it's probably a setup issue and some misjudgment of driver ability. Pole sitter down to P6. Cole Paradox, who was battling in the first stint, down to P7. Danjo and Diddy. I mean, they have pace. Let's not kid ourselves. They have pace. But they don't put a foot wrong. And that's been the difference compared to Harry, compared to Cole Paradox. Little one tonight has had a poor qualifying and a bit of a poor race. King Fifanda is only in P12, and it's almost as if I spoke it into existence. Cole Paradox having a spin and actually off into the old track layout there for a second, down to P11. It's been a night of what ifs, what could have been for the Dutchman, but he will go again, he will continue on. He knows there is nothing to gain from quitting at this point in the Grand Prix, especially with a round of pit stops to come, especially with 13 laps to come. But at this stage, the closest battle on track, all we have to show for is Clapier in P8 in the Alpine, trailing, or leading, not trailing, not chasing, Real DC and the Mercedes, both drivers on 8-lap-old mediums, both drivers desperate for some points this season. Rob into the pits, as is Wuban for their second stop of the night. Rob going to go on the hards, do it 13 laps on those. Wuban, I believe, has done medium hard, is going to go back onto the medium and will also serve that 10-second penalty for speeding into the pits. Diddy then pulls the trigger. 2 seconds the gap had rise to from P1 to P2. The Racing Bull, not the Red Bull mechanics, going to be waiting and ready. Tobes also pulling it. I expect to see another set of mediums getting fired on both of these cars. Yes, it is, as I'm trying to get to that action. Never mind the pit stops. DC making the move on Clapier. Not much action, I must admit. Simple DRS pass. So we'll see how this plays out. We've seen it before. Diddy got the undercut, sorry. Danjo got the overcut, came back 4 laps left. Is Danjo going to push it and go for the softs? He's done medium. Of course, that's where the tyre offset is, with Diddy using his softs early, Danjo using his later on. Is the softs going to be enough at the end? We've seen how quickly they died off. So this is where we're going to get some answers. Was it quicker to go medium hard, or is it going to be quicker for Danjo going medium softs? We'll find out. Of course, the softs, they do burn off earlier, particularly at the start of the Grand Prix when the car's fully laden with fuel, when you've got a lot of turbulent, dirty air around about the pack. It can really sort of breed a bit of tyre wear. Diddy though, no he's not in this, he's 6 seconds behind, is Harvey, is battling it with Clapier and DC now. Harry Palmer, Caelan Bartlett, and it's Jamie all into the pits. Mediums for Jamie's car, Harry and Caelan onto the hards, pretty much splitting the race in 3, going medium hard. But crucially, or importantly, maybe you should say, Jamie, 10-second penalty, speeding into the pit lane. That's a sore one. We don't know quite how it'll affect them, although when you look at everybody behind, they mostly have made their pit stops, so it could be enough to drop him from what is currently P7 to what would be P12ish. Not quite P12, P11. So maybe going to lose him 4 or 5 positions, unless he can build out a gap. If there is a late safety car, it's going to pretty much force his hand with a pit stop just to get it served, because if not, you're going to lose so much time at the final standings. Danjo, though, in clean air. I suppose this is the beauty as well of the overcut. He's got clear air. He's got nobody to worry about apart from his own ability and his own track. Maybe the odd car he'll come round and lap. although that is not a common occurrence. So there is a lot of benefits and you know, downsides to weigh up to every strategy, and the drivers, some of them have planned it, some of them I know for a fact will be absolutely free-handing it. And speaking of free hand, well, there's a free hand position for AFL as Curley retires in the pits. I don't know if that was due to maybe just not having a great race, or whether he's just realised that his car has put on a set of intermediates. What a move though from Jamie. Cavall is getting the move of DRS into turn 1. A little bit slow in the exit, and that just invited and left the door open for Jamie to sneak back around. Yes, we get it, caution in sector 1. Agast Alloy has left the lobby. I don't think I have him as a friend. Hopefully Alloy can get back in, although I do know he was having a bit of connection issues with his party chat, I believe it was, at the start of the Grand Prix. King Fi Panda battling it out with Cold Paradox, losing position, gaining position. There has been a lot of nice close battling when we've had cars together on track. Although most of them have been doing the DRS, there has still been opportunities for moves. Speaking of which, Harvey and Cloppiard, it looks to be a standard DRS. DC then pulling the trigger for the mediums. I believe he started on the... it gets confusing. I think he started on the softs. We'll find out in a second as Harvey gets past Cloppiard. Jamie gets past... no, it was past Cavalis. Past Real DC, sorry, who was in the pits. And it is going to come out in softs. So 9 laps on the softs. It feels like a lot. But the fuel's been burnt off the car. The car's definitely going to be a bit more pacey compared to what it was earlier on, and a bit, you know, there's not going to be the same lateral loads, so it could work out for DC. We'll wait and see. Harry though in a little sandwich between Tobes and Kaylin Bartlett. Of course, Kaylin and Harry both on the white stripe hards. Might be suffering a little bit of pace through some certain sections compared to Tobes on the early laps, but towards the Grand Prix really going to kick back in their favour. And with Jamie's 10-second penalty, they'll maybe be looking forward to that. That could be another position for them. And then it's only really Diddy, Strauss and Danjo to worry about up top in front of that. So this could effectively be the battle for P4 once penalties are applied, if nothing changes too much. Strauss and Cloppiard into the pits. That adds Harvey up to P2. Danjo, of course, retains his lead. And, well, the gap then to the front, it's around about 22 seconds then from Danjo to Diddy. Just about a pit stop, I believe, around most tracks. So we'll see how that plays out. Danjo is, you know, he's inevitably 8 lap older mediums. He's going to lose a little bit of time here, a little bit of time there. But that pendulum of speed should swing back to him in the latter laps. And the longer he can go in the mediums, the less he's got to go in the softs, and the more he can push them. And that's what we're going to see from Strauss. Strauss out on the fresh softs. Cloppiard out on the fresh softs. Slots just ahead of DC, despite DC trying to go for the undercut. We'll see how the battles peel out towards the end. Rob gaining a position because Agast Alloy is in the pits. There's a Cabolis into the wall. Does very well not to DNF there, it must be said. And that's a car going wide as well. That was Kaylin Bartlett. I'm just going to... We had it before. The race leader's into it for the softs. We'll see how that plays out in a second. I just want to make sure something here. It is on reduced standard. Hey! I'm just wondering there, how are they not DNF'd? But let's get on board then with Diddy. Oh, that is tight. He is almost side by side with Danjo. Safety car deployed! What was that for? I don't know. But, oh, that was tight. And now the decisions roll in. Cloppiard, DC, Agast Alloy, Danjo and Strauss on the softs. Surely they stay out. But what is the call for Diddy? Jamie should pit. He's got the 10-second penalties. I'll be surprised if Jamie doesn't pit. What about Harry and Kaylin? Because this is really going to help the soft runners just take those tyres towards the end of the Grand Prix. Maybe, I don't know, maybe Strauss, maybe not so much, but maybe DC or Cloppiard. Probably not even Cloppiard. If they've got a fresh set of softs, is it worth sticking them on for the 2 laps of tyre wear? Well, Cabolis is into the pits for a wing change. King Fi Panda into the pits for softs. Cold Paradox, Spider Rob, Agast Oloy, all into the pits for what should be a fresh set of softs. Wiban and AFL. Now I'm just... Oh, pressed the wrong button there. I think... yeah, Wiban's on the lead lap. Oh, this could be a bad decision from Wiban here. If Danjo stays out, Wiban is going to be a lap down. This is maybe the difference between guys that have raced before and guys that have raced a long time and guys that haven't. Wiban, you should have stayed out there, my friend, because yes, you're in fresh sauce, but you're lap down now and you're going to get picked up by the safety car. You should have went around another lap, waited for the leaders to get picked up by the safety car, and then done your pit stop once you knew you were on the lead lap. You've lost a chance to Agast Alloy, who's just made it out in time. You've lost a chance at Rob, Cold Paradox, everybody else. Yeah, I feel sorry for Wiban there. That's just a wrong decision made. AFL has got a drive-through, for speeding under the safety car. It gets a 10-second for speeding into the pits, and does retire in the pits. The third of our retirements. I'm not quite sure what the safety car was for there. We haven't had a retirement on track, apart from Little One, who somehow did not. Not too sure what that was for, but we'll wait and see. We'll maybe find that out post-race. Looking at it then, Strauss on course for a good finish here. Danjo, it's his race to lose. 6 lap old mediums for Diddy behind. Jamie, I am very surprised not pitting for a set of softs. Yes, you're going to lose so much track position. Well, not so much if you'd done it early. In fact, he's spun it up, and hopefully that doesn't cause any timing issues or any penalty issues for either of those drivers. But the 10-second penalty is going to drop you so far down. It's worth losing the track position just because you're not going to lose out as much, and it gives you a chance to fight. You know, you're going to fight more on the softs. He's probably going to lose time to a lot of cars behind on the fresh softs already. You might as well, you know, pit, get the softs on, get the time seconds. But again, that's maybe just an experience thing, let's call it. Harry Palmer then could be on a recovery drive, and Cold Paradox, let's not forget, these two had the pace to be up there in quali, and this is effectively going to be a sprint race. We're just going to wait for Rob and Agast Alloy to catch up, and I think, all being well, we should get racing on lap 29, which will give us a 5-lap sprint. Lap 29, lap 30, 31, 32, and then the big one, lap 33, the last of the 50%er here in Spain. Cavolis and King Fi Panda, again, hopefully doesn't do anything to mess up the drive. You know, you wouldn't want driver getting a drive-through or a silly penalty for some timing issue or cars going side by side. It is in the rule book, of course, not allowed to go side by side for that very reason. So hopefully no issues for any of them out on track due to something like that. But it is going to be a big old sprint. Caelan Bartlett on the 6-lap old hard, Tobes on the 7-lap old medium, Jamie on the 6-lap old hard, and Diddy on the 7-lap old medium. Sorry, not hard, mediums. You know, you get a rhythm of saying the same thing, you just hit it one after another. Jamie crucially with the 10-second penalty, and then nobody in the top 13 with pens. Spider Rob, Aga Starlight and Wuban all having pens for cutting track limits. This safety car reprint is going to exaggerate that. They've not got to make just time and positions. Not just positions, sorry, they've got to make the positions and the time to keep them. But there is still time for my pens, of course. Safety car in this lap then. Danjo coming around the final corner very, very shortly, as he has the second to last first. Yellow dot then is into the pits, choosing to go on the exit of the second to last corner. That's penultimate for all you scientists out there. And Jamie, though, getting a great start, almost within touching distance of Strauss. Of course, no DRS on this restart lap. It will be available next lap, but of course not until the second DRS detection zone. 2 DRS zones around here, of course. The big one into turn 1 and the little one into turn 10. There was a yellow flag there for something. Not quite sure what that is. Harry Palmer gets him moved on Club PR, the 2-lap holder. Softs losing out to the brand new boys. Almost sticks it up the inside there. Just about makes it last. Or makes it hang, sorry. But not quite able to do for. Cavallis losing out to King 5 Panda. Caelan Bartlett though on the hards. The old hards, of course, they will be a little bit better than some of the mediums, but they take that bit to warm up. And the gap has already formed 1.5 to Tobes in P5. Provisional P4, of course, with Jamie's penalty. As Harry gets past Harvey for a split second. These two going side by side. Harry on the outside turns to the inside once again and gets the move done. Caelan up next, and he needs to dispatch the Mercedes ASAP just to try and bridge a gap to the front. DRS now enabled. Of course, first dose isn't going to be until the back straight halfway through the lap. And Harry burning his battery too much, trying to get the move done before, like trying to just do it too much, too early, too much, too young, too fast, as the song goes. That's how it is. Does get the move on Caelan, but loses out to Harvey. ERS management, can we get him on a training course? I think we need to. DC and King Panda swapping it through turn number 4. DC on the outside. Had the seed position to the Aston Martin down the inside. Has a little bit of a send. Bit of a squeeze from the Aston. Just about leaving enough room. A little bit of contact there. DC might have some choice words with that incident. Clark PR 3-second time penalty. It's a bit more than a 3-second time penalty. It's a 3-second grass penalty. In fact, it's a bit more than 3 seconds with that grass penalty. Down to P15. Another decent race. I mean, he wasn't in a massively points-paying position, but was still running solid, was still battling, and then with 3 laps to go, he goes and does that. Club PR will be fizzing. Strauss, though, will be fuzzing at the mouth. Is that the word? Foaming at the mouth, that's the word. He has got Diddy in front of him, Harry battling with Harvey, and it's going to be Diddy behind him now. Strauss unleashed and maybe looking to have a go at the current race leader, Danjo. These guys, not much of a difference in tyre wear. Strauss has dispatched the old medium runner. Are the mediums, has his softs got enough left in him? Has he left enough battery to get the move done? He is still well within DRS, of course, so not as if he has to push to close the gap. We'll keep an eye on those two as it rages on. Harry, though, has dispatched Harvey and is closing that gap ever so slightly to Tobes, ebbing and flowing throughout the lap. Danjo, though! Oh, this could be a big one for the title. Diddy needs to stay within 3 seconds now. It doesn't matter if he gets past Strauss. He needs to stay within those 3 seconds to gain the championship lead coming out there. 1 point separating these two, of course. So if Diddy beats Danjo, Diddy retakes the championship lead. Danjo will be absolutely fuming with that mistake. Could that be a championship deciding one? We'll wait and see in a few weeks' time. Danjo fastest lap. Strauss replies instantly, though, a 14 flat on the softs. Harry Palmer also going with a 14 flat. Is closing the gap to Tobes. And Tobes will be looking ahead as well. Can I get within 3 seconds of Danjo? I'm already within 10 seconds of Jamie. Harry might be getting ideas as well. Agastyle, he's got another penalty. Let's just have a quick summary of the penalties. 3 seconds for Danjo, 10 for Jamie, 6, 6, 3, 3, Spider Rob, Agastyle, Club PR and Wiban. So the only real difference there's going to be is those top, well, P1 and P4, of course, the 3 and 10, Danjo and Jamie, the bottom might jump amongst themselves, but they're not points paying positions. So in the nicest way possible, it ain't going to matter, boys. Harry Palmer, though, closing into DRS on Tobes, could have an outside chance of a podium. Gap to the leader, of course, 4.7, so he's got the game 1.7, 1.8 on Danjo to get within that 3 seconds, but with the assist of DRS, that will get about a second of it. He just needs to clear Tobes quick and try and pull in the gap from there. We'll see how it goes. Caelan battling out on those hards best he can with King 5 Panda, and he's lost it on the curb. That feels like the biggest dose of commentators curse ever into the wall. I could not have caught that any better. King 5 Panda trying to keep his championship hopes alive. Loses out to DC. Loses out to Cavallis. Loses out to Cole Paradox. He was battling and looking for P8 there. It's down to P11. Would have been P12 if it wasn't for Caelan KXI. So down to 15 runners in this race. Last lap saloon though, boys. Give it everything you've got left and hope for the most. Harry needs 1.3 to get on the podium. Diddy is well within the 3 seconds of Danjo. Jamie is going to drop all the way down. You know, it could be, to be fair, Agasta, like Spider and Clup, could end up in the points here. Clupper, particularly if he can get within 3 seconds at Alloy, and Spider and get within 10 seconds of Jamie. It's not outside possibility. Or it's not outside the realms of possibility. It is still possible. Harry then gets the move on Tobes. He could do with another 2 laps to try and chase down that podium. It's not going to be enough. Harvey's going to get past Tobes. Final lap, losing 2 positions. But rounding the final corner then, folks. On track, the victory goes to Danjo. He's going to lose it due to track limit penalties. It's going to be Strauss on his return. Takes the win. Diddy jumps to P2 then. Danjo P3. Harry 4. Harvey, Tobes, Cavolis, Real DC, Cole Paradox, King Fly Panda. Jamie finishes up in 11th, despite finishing 4th on track. And I believe, I'm not quite sure who got P2. We'll get the full rundown anyway. This has been a mental race to commentate yourself. These 2 stoppers, there's so much going on. That safety car thrown in there. But what a drive from Strauss. Got the strategy right. Made the moves when he had to and kept it on track. Kept it within track limits. That's all that faltered Danjo today. It was a brilliant drive from the Englishman. Or the British, you know, whatever he wants to call himself. Harry then, a decent recovery. Gets the fastest lap as well. But it is Strauss on the top spot. Diddy from P6 up to P2. Danjo P3, Harry P4 from pole position. Harvey started on the hards, made the strategy work, finishes where he started, P5. Tobes up 3 into P6. Cavolis up from 13th to 7th. A decent drive from the Lithuanian driver. DC, a decent result for him in 8th. Cole Paradox. It makes you wonder. He had similar pace to Strauss and Co up front at times. If he hadn't made those mistakes earlier in the Grand Prix, what could have been? Panda will just about keep the championship hopes alive in P10. Harry's gave his a decent boost, although he's not made any ground in Diddy and Danjo at present. Jamie, Agastali, Club BR, Spider, Wuban and Kalen technically classified. AFL, Curly and Little One DNF. They just about got there in the end, folks. Whew. Aye, the joys. The absolute joys. Anyway, I'm not going to keep you waiting. I'm not going to hold you back. It's just myself. There's nobody for me to give her to. 2 of our 3 podium sitters aren't on the same console as me. And I'm sure Strauss will be too busy celebrating to want to have a chat. So, make sure to join us back on Thursday. Jamie and Rob will be on course to take us through Tier 1 around this circuit. Same format, same rules. Guaranteed 2-spot, guaranteed action. Maybe some rain, maybe some safety cars. We'll wait and see. So make sure you tune in 8 p.m. on Thursday night to watch that one unfold. Then Monday night, next week, myself, I'll be here. Hopefully Jack will be here. It is the Australian Grand Prix standard rules race. No gimmicks, no nonsense, no nothing. Just foot down, hard racing around at the streets of Melbourne. I've been CRL Freefall, your host, your commentator, your whatever you want to call me. I do apologise for the first 5 minutes of the stream. Technical issues. We might be able to recover that. We might not. So, all that's left to say is enjoy the rest of your bank holiday Monday. Have a very wonderful evening, and I will see you all later on.